What's up, guys? Welcome to Momming with Migraine. My name is Jen, and I am a mom to two little girls. And my girls are considered Irish twins. They were born just 1 year apart. This holiday season, my older daughter, baby A, will be turning 3, and my younger daughter, baby B, will be turning 2. So I have rounded up a list of my top pros and cons of having two babies that are only 1 year apart. I've got to say, there are a lot of really great benefits to having two babies that are so close in age. But there are also a lot of drawbacks and challenges that come with having two babies with absolutely no breaks in between. So, let's hop right in. If you're a returning guest to the channel here, you might be wondering, what's with the weird set, Jen? What happened to your office? You're not gonna believe this. A freaking sauna happened to my office. So it's actually completely torn apart right now. This is what we're working with. It all happened last night. The story there is a close friend of ours had to get rid of the sauna because they're moving, and we were like, oh no, an orphan. However can we help? I guess we'll take the sauna. So we took the sauna, but we had nowhere to put it. And I said, you know what? I don't need a set for YouTube. I can figure out somewhere else to film. We need this sauna way more than I need my set. So we took the whole set apart and built the sauna in its place. And I did tear up a tiny bit tearing my office apart because there are so many memories, and then it just came apart so quickly. But I'm sure I'll get over it because now there's a freaking sauna here. And for this video, we'll deal with the janky situation. It's fine. Okay, how beautiful is this location to film? Let's start with the first great thing about the girls being close in age. They are best friends, and they have a lot of the same interests. We don't have a situation where there's a 5-year-old who's into way different TV shows and activities than their 2 or 1-year-old little sibling. No, these two are doing wheels on the bus together. These two are buying tea party items together. They're getting potty trained together for the most part, and they even get excited for things like holidays at the first time together. I can only imagine this will continue to be convenient as they get older, when we want to go to things like theme parks. Hopefully we'll be able to stay in relatively the same section for both of them. And ever since baby B hit about 6 months old, they've even been wearing the same size diapers. They can share toys, and they can share clothes. They share pants, shirts, and dresses. Sure, baby A, they fit her a little bit differently, but man, it's convenient that they can swap things so much already. I know that one was very easy, very obvious. It was actually pretty much everyone's reaction when they found out I was pregnant for a second time. I was only about 4 or 4.5 months postpartum when I found out that I was more than a month pregnant. So when I was announcing to people that our babies were only going to be 1 year apart, people's jaws kind of dropped. You know how you can tell when someone is a little bit like, they don't really know what to say? Well, everyone fell back on, oh, they're gonna be best friends. It's gonna just be great. So yes, so far so good, which is a little bit funny, but has totally been true for me so far. Along those lines, I think that it was really, really nice that baby A was only 1 when baby B was born, because there wasn't a lot of sibling jealousy when baby B came. Baby A has pretty much never known a life without her sister, because she had a sister before she could even walk. That's kind of crazy, but it means that there's something really powerful behind their bond. And because I was only 4 months postpartum when I found out I was pregnant again, and because I did the sneak peek test at only 7 weeks along and found out that we were having another girl, it has meant much less clothes sorting for me during those newborn phases. Usually the first box is like 0 to 3 month, and then you have 3 to 6 month, and then maybe 6 to 12, and then so on and so forth. Well, when baby A grew out of her 0 to 3 month, I packed them all up, put them away, and I put the 4 to 6 month into her dresser. Well, lo and behold, before I even got rid of those first sets of boxes, I ended up being pregnant. And I was like, wow, look at that. All of the 0 to 3 month things are already there right there. They're washed, they're sorted, they're folded. I haven't donated them, I don't need to get them back. All of the other baby items are still out and being used because, I mean, this first one isn't even 6 months yet. I don't want to swear, but the ish shuffle that comes along with having babies was just lessened a lot in that way. Now, don't get it twisted. It's also way harder to go through things when you have 2 babies than it is when you have 1 baby. And it's way harder to go through, your 6 to 12 months clothes when you're this pregnant than it usually is when you only have the one baby. But you win some, you lose some. Okay, if you could just please don't touch my head. And then there are a couple of other things that I feel like are being made easier or in the future will be made easier by the fact that the girls are so close together in age. One of them is meal prep. Right now I'm still in the mode where I have to cut up all the food really small because the toddlers, they're little walking choking hazards. Everything is a choking hazard. So I find it very convenient to be in that toddler stage all at once. When I'm cutting up hot dogs, for example, I'm just dicing up 2 whole hot dogs and giving them to the 2 babies. I'm not in a situation right now where I need to dice for the toddler, but then prepare a hot dog in a bun for my older child. And I love that. Now, am I getting the free time and the availability to go and dice those hot dogs that I need to dice for the 2 toddlers? Not necessarily. I mean, it's not easy to do, but the point remains the same. It's nice to be in that phase all at once. In the future, we do intend to homeschool at least a little bit, and I think it'll be really nice that for the most part, they'll be able to be in the same grade, especially when they get a little bit older, and that little bit of age difference won't make quite as much of a difference. But right now, the girls are already able to teach each other because they're interested in the same school subjects. Right now, at almost 3 and almost 2, the alphabet is a really hot topic. The older one is learning more about the sounds of the letters because she already knows their names. And younger is learning more about the names of the letters because she already knows the song. And pretty much nothing warms my heart more than hearing baby A say to baby B, "Can you say ah? Can you say ah, apple?" Or "Can you say B is for baby?" And then my 1-year-old is actually repeating back to her those things. It's so advantageous for both of them. I just can't freaking believe it. And yes, these lessons would be there if it was an older child with a younger child. It would just be in a different way. I think in a lot of ways it would have been more advantageous to have a much older sibling to be able to sort of do those lessons with the babies. Because of course, a child who's significantly older will be able to teach more significant lessons to their younger sibling. But right now, the benefit of them being so close together is that I can also teach them things at the same time and watch them light up about those things at the same time and interact with each other as they're experiencing those new things. So for example, with cooking, they both love to help cook and they've cooked in small ways, but they both got to experience cracking their first egg side by side with each other, side by side with their best friend. I think that made it a little bit more special for them, and it made it more special for me. And that's not to say that the memory isn't special if you don't have that thing. It's just to say that it's a different kind of special. I was gonna talk about naps next because those are hit or miss, so I don't want them to be in the pros or the cons list. But given that there are baby dresses hanging up behind me on my elliptical, because we're going to a wedding this weekend and I've got to pick one out for the babies, I think I'm gonna touch on the cons of another clothing thing first. There was a point in time when I believe the girls were maybe 6 months and a year and a half old, when it was very difficult to tell their clothes apart. They were different enough in size that they could not share yet, but they were similar enough in size that when you held up the little pair of baby pants, it was like, I mean, it really could go either way because some of them have stretch and some of them don't. Some of them are meant to be a little bit more baggy and some of them are meant to be a little bit tighter, like a legging. So there was definitely a solid chunk of time where I got kind of lost and almost frustrated in the laundry because it was so much thought trying to remember whose clothes were whose. And now we'll talk about naps because coordinating naps has been a little bit hard. When you first have a baby, there's not much of a nap schedule. The baby sleeps a bit, wakes up a bit, sleeps a bit, wakes up a bit. By the time baby B was born, baby A was doing, I believe, 2 naps a day because she was 1 year old. She transitioned to 1 nap a day somewhere between 15 and 18 months. I don't remember exactly when, but she was developmentally normal there, whenever that was. I have found it at times very difficult to plan out what my day is going to look like with the 2 babies because of the ways their naps have been shifting and moving relative to each other. So let's take if you just have 1 baby and your 1 baby is switching from 2 naps to 1 nap. That means that the baby, instead of sleeping in the morning for a little bit and in the afternoon for a little bit, now they're just sleeping at lunchtime, like noon to 3 or 1 to 2 window. But they're not sleeping like 9 to 11 a.m. or 4 to 6 p.m. The 2 to 1 nap transition is notoriously difficult, and newborns are also notoriously difficult. So it was really hard to go from baby B being about 3 months to about 6 months old, developing a nap schedule, at the same time as baby A was going from 15 months old to 18 months old, switching from 2 naps to 1 nap a day. I think it would have been fine if I was content just living my entire life at home, constantly switching which baby was napping and which baby was awake. But the thing was, I wanted to get out and do things with my life, and do things with the babies, and give them a chance to go to things like indoor playgrounds as much as I could swing it. But it was like, what time should I even go? So there were chunks of time when it was very convenient to stay at home. Add on to this, baby A is bottle fed and baby B is breastfed. So for a little while, it became very convenient to wake up, do a family breakfast around 8 or 9 a.m., and then get baby A back down for her nap. Once baby A woke up around like 11 or noon, I would leave with her and baby B to do whatever plaything we were going to be doing that day. And while we were there, I would sit down and breastfeed baby B and get her to sleep, or have her sleep in either the car seat or the stroller or whatever we were doing. She would just sleep while we were on the outing, while baby A played. Remember, at that point, baby A was like a toddler. She's basically 1.5. And baby B at that point, still in my arms, not quite crawling. Then we would get home. It would be time for baby A's second nap. So she would take a nap while baby B did who knows what, usually awake, usually playing. And then baby B would go down so I could make dinner, etc., etc. You get it. But then baby A started to shift her morning nap later and later and combine it with that second nap so that she could just be doing 1 nap. And at the same time, baby B wanted to be switching from 3 naps to 2 naps. So now that second of 3 naps of baby B's that was landing at the same time as baby A's 1 nap started instead getting shifted. So now baby A is doing 1 nap. Baby B is trying to do 2 naps that are straddling baby A's 1 nap. And that is chaos again. And I'm sorry if all that did was confuse you, but that's kind of the point. It was freaking mental gymnastics every day. Like, okay, what was working for this baby? What was working for that baby? And how has it changed from last week? How does it seem like they're trending? Because yeah, you'll figure out your routine and it'll be great for a month, but then guess what? Someone's gonna teethe or go through some kind of developmental leap, they're gonna go through a transition, and then you're gonna have to go through a whole nother cycle of figuring out your routine again. So the nap time thing has had crazy ebbs and flows, but now we're just at 1 nap a day for both of them. So don't worry, if you're in the thick of it, it does settle down. I'm gonna pause on talking about the babies for a second and talk about me. Going through 2 pregnancies back to back was incredibly taxing on my body. Do not underestimate the drain that it takes to make an actual human. I felt like by the end of my second pregnancy, my bones were brittle. I had lost a ton of weight. I could just tell that my body gave everything to make baby B. And beyond that, it was a little bit uncomfortable and daunting going into the pregnancy, knowing that my everything hadn't quite healed all the way yet. I wanted a lot more time for my stitches and tearing and those kinds of things to settle in and become more comfortable before they had to carry the weight of another full-term pregnancy. So that was a lot. It was a big drain. And now I'm at 2 years and still breastfeeding. So my body has been getting pulled from for 4 years straight now. Am I doing the math right? Yeah. Since pre-COVID, I have not had a month where I was not pregnant or breastfeeding. I actually truly have not. So my body's tired. And on top of that, it was a very demanding and busy first year. Not just because of all of the nap switching and everything that we were talking about, but there's just not that much of a break during those first 12 to 18 months. And then fast forward to postpartum with baby B. I had just had the newborn, but remember, I also have a 1-year-old who's just learning how to walk. Baby A being teetery on her feet while I was healing downstairs from delivering wasn't really my favorite combination, because she just didn't have the best balance yet, so she was kind of topply, but she also isn't the type of baby to like to hold your hand. She's very Miss Independent, I want to figure it out on my own. Baby B, total hand holder. Baby A, she's gonna figure it out. But that means that she fell down a lot more and gave me a lot more of those little like panic heart attack moments. I think that also depends on your 1-year-old and how rambunctious they are and how much they like to get into trouble. The other thing about baby A is at that age, she was a total runner because like I said, very independent. She just wanted to go explore. And if we let her, she'd just keep running. She's not the type to look back and see if mom and dad are following. She's just gonna go. So with a newborn, I just had to be prepared for that. I have never in my life understood the parents who leash their kids more than I understood with baby A when she had just figured out how to run. And the last con on my list is that it can take a couple of years for little ones to figure out how to be gentle. So when I came home with the newborn baby, little 1-year-old did not understand to be gentle with the baby. That meant I could not leave the baby on the floor. Usually when you come home with a newborn, you can put the baby in a bouncer. You can put the baby in a playpen. But I did not really have the luxury of putting the baby almost anywhere. If I put the baby in a bouncer or a playpen, baby A just wanted to play with her. And while that's very, very sweet, it also usually wasn't the most gentle or the most productive way to play with a newborn. Envision toy sharing, because there was a ton of that, and it was usually with throwing. It's not that she was trying to throw the toy at her sister, it's that there was a gate around her sister and she was trying to get the toy over the gate. If sister's out of the gate, she wants to pet her sister. And I think that that contributed to that busyness and non-stop feeling that I was having. Because if baby A was 4, I could explain to her that she needs to be gentle with a newborn. But since she was only 1, I could say newborn to her, and she would probably look up at me and say, Mama. Now that we're at almost 2 and almost 3, they're starting to even out a little more in terms of size. That's also been really nice, because now the wrestling feels a little bit more even. And as they get older and bigger, maybe they'll be able to share even more clothes. Who knows? If they even have the same sense of style. Concluding thoughts. Am I glad that the 2 babies are only a year apart? Yes, absolutely. 10 out of 10. Would do it again if I had the chance to change my life. But I think that's because we're just predisposed and biased to like our lives the way that they are. Because I'm also obsessed with the fact that they're both girls because they want to dress like each other and they want to dress like me, and it melts my heart, and I'm just obsessed with everything that they do. But I also know that if they were further apart in age, or if they were a boy and a girl, or even if they wanted nothing to do with each other because they had completely different personalities, I'm pretty sure I would be able to find a way to be obsessed with them in that case too. You just can't go wrong when it comes to your babies. They're such a blessing. Good luck out there, mamas. Kill it. We got it. If we can stand up.